Welcome guys for another episode of Garage Gamers. As you can tell by the title, this one is going to be a bit controversial when there was a bug flying right at my face. So we went a bit off topic in the last episode for Dead or Alive Xtreme 3 and it went a bit long, so we've kept this as a special bonus episode for you guys. So give us your opinions on what you think.
Yeah, hang in and watch this one. Hang in and watch this one, guys. It's worth it.
It's very controversial.
Here we go. Roll tape. So this brings us on to our next topic, which is about these games and the banning of these games and how you feel about it and all that sort of stuff. So this actually, sorry, it's not banning. It's actually not technically a banning. It's literally a decision that was made by the developers not to release it down here.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on their decision to do that?
Well, let's just say straight up. So there is a ban, there's a censored version, and then there's a developer not releasing it. So there could be three different types of things. So the banning is obviously when the ratings board is like, we're not having this. The developer's just chosen in this example to not release it here. What was their reasoning? Did we find that out? They did release a statement.
I don't have the statement in front of me. Basically, it's just they did a really subtle tone of we don't think it's suitable for the Western market. So. Which
basically means we don't want to deal with the backlash.
Yeah. Let's be honest. I mean, they've got a subtle press release, but we know what the real reason is, and there's been I think after Gamergate and everything that happened there's been a real kind of toing and froing between people on both sides of the fence. It seems like people are really passionate about it, though. That's the thing. Like, why is this happening? why can't I want both sides to be happy, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you got so many aggressive people on both sides of the field attacking each other all the time, and it's just like, and there's so much hate and angst, and it's just a video game. It's just, you know what I mean?
Well, okay, I can understand why they didn't release it in Australia, but I can't.
But why?
Because it's not a good game.
Because the quality of the game is not good.
Yeah,
because the last one sold very well.
Yeah, but I think people would only buy it just for the gimmick value. No one's buying it going, this is such a good game.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. So, but that makes money.
Yeah, but, okay, say for example that didn't sell. They would probably be thinking, oh, it didn't sell because of controversy. I would say it didn't sell because it sucked. Yeah. I don't know what that's like.
No, I might actually be... It's very unlikely it's going to be a good game. Let's be honest. It's probably not... I'm not going to judge it, but I'm saying odds are it's not going to be a good game.
So if it was an amazing game, though, then I would be like, oh, why don't we get it? But I don't really care. Like, it's not a...
No, but I think I'm more asking you why you think they didn't release it down here.
Because I don't think they saw a market for it. I don't think there's enough people who want that type of game.
But it still sells. That's the thing. It will sell.
Does it? I wouldn't buy it, would you?
Xbox 360
well, you did.
Xbox 360 one sold really well. The Xbox original one sold very well. And I think no doubt this one would sell very well. Obviously,
why do you want a beach volleyball game?
I'm not trying to defend it, but there is more than beach volleyball in there. It is a cheesy game. It's going to get probably pretty poor reviews, but I reckon as long as they review it for the game itself, rather than because you object to the fact that it's got bikini girls in it, then that's a fair call. But the thing is that ultimately, Japan, or not Japan, but the developers in Japan decided not to release it here. For a very specific reason, even though it would have made money for them. Do you think that's a logical call, smart call, stupid call? What do you think of that call?
I think they should have still released it in bigger countries like US or Europe. That way, I mean, the thing is, we still can import it, as you've just shown.
Yeah.
But I think to make it a bit more accessible...
But they're also not making a Western version.
That's what I was going to say. To make it a bit more accessible, having it in America or Europe would have been a bit better for an English audience to purchase it. But then, if they did that, so if they released in Europe, then the Americans would be like, where's our version? You know? And if they released in America and Europe, then we'd be like, where's our version? So I think they had to either include everyone, or take the Western world out of it.
But that's fine to include everyone. It'll sell. Like it's obviously it'll sell for its cheesy reasons, but it will still sell. It'll still make the money. So do you think basically what I'm getting at is, do you think that they didn't do it because they're worried about what some media outlets would say about it?
But you think it's the third one. If it was going to have an impact on the business, it would have done it by now.
Well, yeah.
You know, like it's the third one. Like if who makes that?
Tecmo Koei or Team Ninja, I think.
Team Ninja, alright, so they do Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
Okay, Ninja Gaiden comes out, I still want to play it, even if I don't like that game, and I'm sure other people who had an issue with the other ones still would play another, Team Ninja game. I don't think it really affects anything, because if it did, they wouldn't even be making a third one.
Do you think they're scared?
I don't know what they're scared about. It's the third one.
But they didn't release it because they're worried about the backlash. That's saying that they're scared to release it. They're scared of the backlash.
Why make it? You're creating more backlash by not releasing it to the Western world. Because then we think, what's so bad about it that you're not releasing it here? Like what?
Yeah, it'd be good if we had a lady on this panel, just to get her input as well.
No,
we don't want to sound biased or anything, but we're just talking about it.
But a couple of my female friends they've played them and they're like, they don't even think twice about what's in the game. They just think it's stupid, like it's a joke.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It really is, and it's it's a sexy joke, no doubt, and it would be nice if we could get a team of female developers to come up with a game that's specifically designed for women in a similar context. Yeah. I encourage it, do it, make it happen, but it's just, I don't know, maybe the word that kind of thing won't sell. I
think the only issue that people would have, it wouldn't be with that sort of a game, because that is over the top, cartoony. I think if, say we were playing Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls, and the what is it, Ellen Page's character in Beyond Two Souls, if she had massive breasts and all you could see was them moving around, but they were trying to tell a serious story, that's where I'd have an issue. It's like, is that necessary? Does she need to have these breasts flopping around everywhere when you're trying to tell a good story?
If it was Ellen Page, yes, I agree, because Ellen Page has got normal sized person's breasts.
Yeah, but that would be they're enhancing them just for no reason. Like,
but then again,
no point.
Women do sometimes have big breasts.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the physics, because that's known for having these bouncy physics. Yeah. Like, does that need to be in the game? Because as I said, there's no men crotches bouncing around.
Yeah, everywhere. Well, if they want to, in my opinion, if they want to do men's crotches bounce, just go.
But in a serious,
go nuts.
But I'm saying in a serious game, in a serious adult game, you're trying to show people this is a game not just for kids. This is for serious adults who are a bit more sophisticated than just wanting to play stupid, stuff that we can play, which is fun every now and then. But I think that's when it becomes an issue, if every game had their female characters like that.
But what game is doing that? Like, even before the Gamergate thing kicked in, what game do you think is doing that?
Well, I think the original Tomb Raider was the whole sex appeal of Lara Croft, but then...
But is there something wrong with that?
Because females loved Lara Croft.
But not just that, I mean, like, it's still a story, like cinema. You cast good-looking people for cinema, like sexy people for cinema, because they got a visual appeal that people are drawn to when they go to see it. Yeah, Lara Croft has big boobs. She probably naturally has. The presumption is her character has naturally big boobs. So be it. Are we going to shame her for having big boobs, or she was born with it? So that's the theory. She was born with it, and yes, it was kind of created for a sexy appeal, but anyone that's cast in a film is pretty much cast for sexy appeal.
Well, I think the whole industry's changing, because when you think about it, like every action game that we used to play, all the dudes were buff and muscly as well.
Yeah.
And I think now, like, say for example, when you started playing Infamous, and you're like, wow, he just looks like a normal guy.
Yeah.
You can relate more to that.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, I mean, like, there's buff guys out there. So we can't just say, oh, you can't have buff guys, because then they're like, hey, well, I'm muscly, what, are you just going to exclude me?
Exactly
right. And
like
you were saying, girls that are naturally busty, like, you can't just say, oh, just because you got big boobs, we can't represent you anymore.
Exactly right.
I think they're just now it's a balance. You know, if
Like-
if it fits the story or the context, fair enough. But if it doesn't, you don't need to just do it on everything.
Well, I think also the realism of games is improving
Yeah.
and increasing at a rapid rate. That I think in a realistic sense, chances are women would have average sized cups. So you know, so do it like that. That makes much more sense. So yeah, in terms of realism, I think it kind of naturally flows that way because you got games like The Last of Us and stuff like that, which is just, and you know, Uncharted and stuff where it's more human. And I think games are getting so lifelike that you want it to be more human and not like 3D pixelated.
Yeah, but so
boobs, so
I wasn't talking about the size or anything. I was just saying, so for example, The Last of Us, imagine you're in this desolate world, everything's serious and grim, and there's Joel and he's looking all rugged,
I know
and there's Ellie and she's got this tiny triangle bikini on and little G-string. Like, that would just ruin the game.
It would ruin the game, but you know what? That'd be their mistake.
Exactly.
I think it's up to them, but that would detract from the whole vibe of
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, if that was in a serious game like The Last of Us,
Yeah.
that's when I would see that people would take offense. Whereas
But
Dead or
offense,
Alive,
that's the word. Like, why does it have to be offense? Like, it shouldn't be
because
offensive.
it's like, why
it should be dumb. It should be stupid. It's like, why have they done that? That's stupid. But it shouldn't be offensive. It's just
Yeah,
a
but
bikini. You see a bikini at the beach.
yeah, but not in like the
No,
you know,
you don't.
after the apocalypse.
Exactly, which is why it's stupid. Which is why it's
I know.
dumb. Yeah.
But you know, the argument would be, well, then why isn't he? You know, why is she?
Well, yeah, I say, like, if you're going to do it with one, do it to both. But I mean, you know, sometimes...
But
you
that
know,
company
one's
is
there,
obviously
one's not,
smart
you know,
enough
they-
not to do that.
Yeah.
And I think most companies are smart enough to do that. And I think you can have games like Dead or Alive Extreme exist because they're not realistic.
Yeah.
If that was trying to be The Last of Us, and then you went and had a game of beach volleyball during gameplay, you'd be like, this makes no sense.
But what about a kind of game that's in between The Last of Us and Dead or Alive? So this kind of like middle ground is what where the real issue lies. I mean, like, you know, because I don't think there should be an issue if a character has big boobs. And I think you should be. I think there should be, like, you know, if you do. Sorry about the language, but big boobs and big. What word can I use for
junk?
Men? Big junk. Big junk for men. You know, I reckon do both. Like Saints Row 1, 2, and 3 did that. They
Yeah, but that's not in between. That's over the top as well. That's very
it is, yeah. But actually, I found that, like, it doesn't often get targeted by feminists when they're complaining about these things because
because
they're
it's
actually
over the top.
Yeah, but there's so many, you know, strippers and big boob girls and stuff like that. But they also have everything flipped over to the men's side as well, equally.
Yeah, you can have a guy walking around in G-string. And...
Yeah, or maybe not equally. It might be a bit more girls than guys, but it's about 50, 60 or worse. Sorry, 40, 60. I'll get my maths right.
110.
40, 60 or worse. But yeah, so maybe to me, I think the answer for this situation is not to take away games, but add more for women. Give more for women. Like, if there's a sexy game for guys, make sexy games for girls, like on a 50-50 basis. So I don't think we should be banning sexy games.
I think the easiest solution in Dead or Alive's case is just you've got a roster of male characters, put them in there.
Yeah.
Who cares if the guys buy it? If the
Yeah.
guys don't want to use the guys, then don't pick the guys.
I agree with that. I think their element is the whole scenario is supposed to be a fantasy. Like, you're on this fantasy island with only girls, and it's like a kind of, you know, male dream sort of thing.
Then those people need to go get a life.
Yeah, true. But that's what video games are for. It's for creating elements of fantasy. Like, that's why they, you know, it's like escaping to a scenario that you can't get to in real life.
Here's a good thing. Create it 2 discs. 1 disc is men.
Yes.
1 disc is...
And
there you go. Done.
I entirely agree with that. That'd be great. And you know what? Everyone's happy then. And I think... and also, you can put it in the same game. Obviously, it'll cost more to make that, but most of the core elements are there. You got the backgrounds. You got the characters already made. Just put them in different outfits.
It's the same game. It's just different character models.
Yeah. So,
which you've already got the models from Dead or Alive, the original game series.
Yeah.
I mean, like, characters like Jan Lee is this guy who's, you know, martial arts dude. He's not wearing a top, and he's shredded to bits.
Yeah, dude, that's just one character. There's loads of characters that never get picked up on in that game. Like, it is mostly guys. I think it's probably 70-30 girls to guys ratio in Dead or Alive 5. None of the 30 guys ever get spoken about. If they do, I've heard one person say that they brought up the topic of, hey, here's a sexy guy from Dead or Alive 5, why don't you consider him? And their argument was, sorry, they being the feminists in particular, that type of character is more of an idol for men characters than something for women characters to appreciate. But that's like, I don't understand, you can't have it both ways. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't say, well, he's a sexy girl, that serves men. He's a sexy guy, that also serves men. You know what I mean? That's, I mean, you've got sexy girls, you've got sexy guys. Yes, they could put more guys in there to make it 50-50. But aside from that, I mean, that's, I don't understand why a 50-50 scenario in that situation would be unfair or sexist.
Well, no matter what you talk about, you could have any game in the history of the world and someone's going to have some issue with it. That's just how things are.
Yeah.
And sometimes some person just starts up a little rant and then everyone will jump on it.
Yeah, and the whole Gamergate thing, we have to make a disclaimer. It got way out of control, and we're neither here nor there. We actually want to avoid the whole situation because it's a bad place to go.
It's just,
but we thought at least this was a decent topic to talk about because the game's not released here. And
here's the simple thing: doesn't matter about race, religion, shape, color, male, female. Who cares? We're all the same. We're all human. Like, I don't. It's hard for me when you ask me these questions. Like, why do people get offended? I don't get offended by anything because I don't look at anyone any different.
Yeah.
And obviously other people do, but for me, like, if I'm playing a game, if it's a guy or a girl or they're black, they're white, I don't care. Yeah. I just want to play the game.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I want to be as well, like it used to be. But I also don't want women to feel upset, agitated, whatever emotions they're particularly feeling, in particular when it comes to games which they consider to be quite sexist games. I want to figure out a way, without removing things from the current industry, to add things to make it better for them.
But I think they're doing that already. They're making serious games that have diversity, and they're not just like, okay, now we're just going to have females in every game. They're not overdoing it. They're making it more realistic. Yeah. There is an equal balance of people.
But you know what? I'm really hoping we can just do that naturally, rather than having to just kind of question and debate everything, and when something's shown, like the butt thing from Overwatch, that it gets banned, like it's removed because of complaints. That's the stuff that just drives me crazy. I kind of just wish we could kind of naturally evolve to realism. If one character has big boobs or shows off a butt, so be it.
Here's the solution.
And then maybe make up for it by adding another male character that kind of.
The solution is just don't buy it. If you don't like it,
There's that too. Yeah.
I mean, and then you tell your friends. You just be like, I don't think this is good, blah blah blah. And if they think what you're saying is just, then they won't buy it either. I mean, that's how you start things.
And most guys know a cheesy moment when they see it. It's not like I don't think there's real drooling and stuff happening in the background. I think the impression is that like guys that buy these games are just like living in dark bedrooms and just drooling.
Yeah, they make it think like we love those moments.
Stupid and silly, but it's just
like, okay, here's a good example. The latest Tomb Raider is so realistic, and she's not over the top. She's fully clothed through 99% of the game.
Not really sexy.
No, but it's good because it's more grounded and more realistic. Now, if all of a sudden she just went like, whoops, and like her boobs nearly fell out, I would cringe. I would be like, why is that in there?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't need to be. Because that would take me out.
But then again, the questioning, like, she could fall over and then, like, naturally, not
come on.
No, but not in a deliberate way that the developers intended. And I think sometimes the pickiness has really gone to new levels in terms of what's acceptable and what's not, in terms of, I mean, like, you walk down George Street in the city and there's cleavage everywhere. And now you do a bit of cleavage in video games and people are picking up on it left, right, and center. It's gotten to kind of crazy levels, to be fair.
Yeah,
so
I think it's mainly an issue when it's blatantly obvious. Like, they've purposely made someone, they've purposely made a female stand out as over the top, and the male character's just a normal everyday dude.
Yeah.
I think that's when the main issues come. Those little ones, I think, are the ones that you can just ignore because they're not really, you know, if someone's got a bit of a low cut top in one scene, it's like, oh,
yeah.
I don't think many people really
And it's gotten
care.
to a point where that stuff is actually getting picked up on today, which I think is just
but those are the ones that they're not getting like mass attention.
They are getting mass attention. Like for example, BioShock Infinite. Like there was like a tiny bit of cleavage on the girl.
I didn't even notice cleavage, and we're guys.
That's what I'm saying, right? But that got picked up and scrutinized. So like this is a whole topic. We could go on forever in this topic, but we're going to have to finish up because there's so much to this. And
There's no answer.
And yeah, there is no answer. I think ultimately men are going to be attracted to women, and that's not going to change. That's just how the world evolves.
You don't like it, don't buy it.
That's how the world evolves.
You're allowed to not like something, but just don't buy it. That's it.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think it's a disrespect for it. I think the perception is when men are looking down at women when they show skin. Trust me, men are looking up at women. we're idolizing women. That's the brain set. Yeah, there's those Wolf of Wall Street types that like the 0.001% of men in the world who might treat women like trash and they've got everything in there.
There's plenty of those guys.
Yeah, but I mean, 99.9% of men like they're looking up at women.
No. I would say 60-40. 60 are complete trash as men, and 40 are good.
Well, that's a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like the fascination with women is still there, and I think that's aspiring.
Yeah, but there's a difference of, do you respect women and appreciate the body, or do you, wolf whistle and call out and cat call and treat them like crap? That's a difference. You can appreciate something, but if you're going overboard and being a dick, then fair enough. That's not okay. So
yeah, and again, the conversation just gets deeper. So we're
going to
stop there. We're going to stop there. We may even have to cut this out. I don't know. But thank you for joining us. This is Garage Gamers. I am IceCube. This is Zorbz. We've probably built up a lot of fans and haters after this episode.
We haven't said anything bad.
No, I don't think so either, but you never know. So, but that's okay. If you've got anything to say about the topic, please feel free to comment in the section below. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Give us some examples of ones that we might have overlooked that are really standouts of controversy.
Clearly it's a massive topic, and that's why it just seems to be this never-ending, ongoing thing. And the fact we're even talking about it now in a video is not going to help the situation. but we're done.
No, it is
Here
good.
We are.
It's good because people will, think about it. I mean, you've got to hear everyone's opinions. Everyone's got their own opinions, so it's good to see what other people say and think, okay, I either agree or disagree. It's good to have that conversation going.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good point. So thank you again for joining us, and we will see you at the next Garage Gamers.
Bye!
That was the last episode. Bye.
Bye.